Welcome to the OTG halftime show. The Golden State Warriors are currently leading the Cleveland Cavaliers 52-44. I'm Nick Fay, and with me tonight is Parth Garadia. What's up, Parth?
What's going on, Nick?
Nothing much, Parth. Enjoying this game. I feel like the Cavs have not capitalized, but what's your initial reaction from the first half?
Well, I feel like I agree with you in terms of the Cavs not capitalizing on opportunities that they've had. I don't know, man. Just watching the game, it seems like Golden State on a majority of the possessions gets more than one good look at the basket. They'll obviously shoot their one shot for that possession, but they'll get more than one opportunity to get a good look or good shot off. Cleveland, it just seems like they'll have one person dribbling the ball. They'll either drive and they'll kick and they'll take that shot. They don't really get multiple good looks on a lot of their possessions. I think that's the difference.
Yeah, like you said, Golden State's getting a lot of good shots. So in the first quarter when they were cold, I felt like the Cavs really needed to capitalize on that and build the lead because the Warriors were eventually going to pick it up and make their shots. So it's tough for the Cavs. They're going to have to get back into this game.
I will say this about Cleveland, though. They draw 3 fouls on Steph. So I don't know if that limits him at all in the second half. I think if I were Cleveland, I'd attack him immediately out of halftime and see if I can get fouls 4 and 5 and kind of force Steve Kerr's hand in terms of having to bench him. But Draymond has stepped up big. He's 7 for 13, 18 points. Offensively, he's been great. And, of course, you have Iguodala playing great on defense. I think he's a game high plus 17. So he makes a real positive impact for the Warriors when he's in the game.
Another guy who stepped up for the Warriors, I felt like in the first quarter, was Andrew Bogut. He stepped up defensively. I think he had 4 blocks. It's just tough for the Cavs to beat the Warriors when they have so many guys performing well, even when Steph is not on top of his game.
Yeah, he played well to start. Had a lot of activity on the defensive end, and then took a well-deserved bathroom break.
Very true. I mean, have you liked anybody from the Cavs? I know Tristan Thompson's played with a lot of energy, getting those putbacks, and Richard Jefferson's been pretty good off the bench. Anybody stick out for the Cavs for you?
Well, mentioning Tristan Thompson, you would think the Cavaliers would have the rebounding advantage, but they do not at all. A part of that has to go with them not shooting nearly as well. They're only shooting about 36% from the field, but they're -7 in rebounds. Part of the reason is, like I mentioned, the field goal percentage. But I don't know, man. A lot of these switches that Cleveland's doing on defense, I feel like sets up a guard with a big underneath the basket. And then Golden State's allowed to get offensive rebounds. They have 9 versus Cleveland's 5.
Yeah, that was definitely big.
Like OKC, you could do that because you have elite rebounders for their guards. Like Westbrook's elite. Roberson is tall, lanky. Can get rebounds, box out a little bit. But I feel like with Cleveland, they're getting killed when they switch. Not off the initial shot, but off putback opportunities. So Tristan Thompson, I feel like he needs to really impose his will on the offensive glass. I don't know if he'll be able to. He does have 3 rebounds right now, which would be a good night for anyone. But I think for him, he has to go above and beyond for Cleveland to really stand a chance.
Yeah, I definitely noticed, like you said, on those switches. I know a few times it was like J.R. Smith on Draymond Green. And JR was like out of the picture. Draymond Green was getting the easy putback. And those putbacks, I think, really helped get the Warriors on that 20-2 run they went on in the second quarter. That kind of gave them that big lead, that double-digit lead that put them in that comfort zone. And when the Warriors are comfortable, I feel like that's when they're at their best. They just start letting loose, and next thing you know, you're down 20.
Yeah, but to go back to your original question, which I completely did not answer, my bad. But Richard Jefferson, I thought, has played great. He's made timely plays, gotten to the line a good amount. He drew a foul on Steph, drew a foul on Iggy right at the end. I believe it was Iggy. But, yeah, he's played well. 7 points. Good first half for Richard Jefferson.
Who's been the worst player for the Cavs in the first half that really needs to step up in the second half if they want to win this game?
The worst player, I would go with Kyrie. He's not having he's having a terrible game. He has 4 points, 2 for 8 shooting, no assists, couple rebounds. Like I feel like he's kind of in the same mold as a Damian Lillard was last year, when he could only really affect the game or have an impact on the game if he scores. If he doesn't score, he doesn't play great defense. He doesn't get a lot of assists, partly due to LeBron having the ball all the time, but he could be a secondary assist kind of guy, but he hasn't been. He's not really a ball mover. He's more of a ball stopper, isolation type of player. But it's not working for him right now. He needs to find a way to get going, make cuts off the ball, attack the basket. He's a great finisher. He needs to get back to trying to finish a lot of these layups. He's struggled so far, but he's the type of offensive talent that can turn around in a matter of moments. So I think he's been the worst, and he obviously has the most. He could change the game the most out of the Cleveland players that are playing the worst.
Yeah, it was kind of weird because he started the game off aggressive. I think he took the first 3 or 4 shots for Cleveland, and it looked like he was going to have a big scoring game, and then he kind of went quiet the rest of the game, like you said. And he has the ability to really impact the game and give that Cavs another finisher in the paint. So they need him to step up in the second half. For the Warriors, who do you think's been the worst player and really needs to step up?
I don't know if he's been the worst player, but I feel like Klay Thompson could do a little bit more. He isn't shooting great. He's hit a couple threes. He's actually moved the ball pretty well. He has 4 assists. That's a team high so far. And he obviously has off-ball assists as well, where defenders try and stop him from getting the ball and kind of overcommit and leave the other guy open. But I feel like he could be a lot better. Steph has played a lot better than he did last game. Klay is getting there, but I think he can still go even further. As we saw against OKC, he can be extremely, extremely great. So I think he could make a vast jump in the second half.
Yeah, I think, like you said, I mean, Steph hasn't been like super crazy. He does have 12 points, but him and Klay, they both can kind of really go in attack mode and put a lot of pressure on the Cavs. I feel like the Cavs, though, did do a good job of trying to double team Curry and get the ball out of his hands. So, if the other guys are stepping up and they're still up almost by double digits, it's hard to change what you're doing.
Right, and that part, you mentioned double teaming Curry and even sometimes Thompson when he gets the ball. That's what's leaving Draymond Green open for a lot of these 3-point attempts. And I feel like that Cleveland did that a lot last year. Draymond didn't really take advantage of it the first 3-4 games, and then as soon as they went small, he took off in last year's finals. So I don't know if that's the strategy you want to go with if you're Cleveland. Switching is obviously tough because you don't want to get Kevin Love out there guarding Steph Curry. But I don't know, man. Draymond is the type of guy, when he gets rolling, he really gets rolling. And then it's not only scoring for him, he's a pretty good playmaker as well. So he could even set Harrison Barnes up for a big game, Andre Iguodala up for a big offensive night. So it's kind of pick your poison with this Golden State Warriors team.
Yeah, that's definitely what makes him so difficult, is that Draymond Green pick and roll, because, you rush him at the 3-point line, he's able to dribble the ball and make a play for his teammates and really get things moving for that team.
What I would say, though, is if Cleveland is going to go with that sort of strategy or whatever, prevent the pick and pop where Draymond just gets a 3, and then don't let him get to the basket either. Force Draymond to play in the mid-range and be a scorer from the mid-range. I haven't seen him do that much. I don't know if he can or if he can't, but I'd like to see Cleveland force him into the mid-range and force him to be a scorer from that area.
Yeah, I mean, defensively, that's what you want to do. You want to prevent the layup and not let them shoot the 3. If they make a long 2-pointer on you, you'll live with that because the percentages are in your favor.
You definitely don't want him to be a playmaker, though, because he can really kill you as he did last year in the 2015 finals.
Yeah, just especially with the Warriors, they have so many lethal shooters on the outside, so it just puts you at a disadvantage. But if the Cavs do want to win this game, what changes are they going to have to make in the second half?
Like I mentioned this to start. They have to continue to get majority of their possessions where they have more than one good opportunity at the basket. They need to move. They need to move without the ball. They need to move the ball. They need to get multiple good looks at the basket. Obviously, you're only going to take one per possession unless you get an offensive rebound. But I want to be able to say, I want to see Kyrie Irving, oh, hey, I have a 3, but J.R. Smith, if I drive, has a better 3. Oh, J.R. drives, Kevin Love. I want to see multiple drive and dish and kickouts. You see that a lot with the Warriors, where they make the extra pass, but you don't see that much with Cleveland. You'll see LeBron James in the post, one pass out, that's a shot. They usually only get one of those per possession. So I like to see Cleveland play a little bit more like Golden State in a sense.
That's a very good point because, I mean, the Cavs need to be more aggressive. And when you only make them rotate one time, it's a lot easier for them because the chances are on the third or fourth rotation, the guy's going to be open. So you keep moving that ball and getting the better shot, like you said. I think that's important. And I think the Cavs need to take advantage of when the Warriors switch on the smaller defenders and keep driving to the rim. They haven't been shooting great in this series, so getting to the free throw line is important for this team.
I also think as you're moving the ball and you have the defense shifting, I think running a secondary pick and roll with Kyrie Irving as a ball handler, I think that will open up lanes for him to really get to the basket, make some easy layups, really get going. Once he gets going, he's an elite offensive talent in this league, and he doesn't matter what kind of defense you play. If he gets the ball up when he's rolling, he's going to hit a majority of those shots. It's just can Cleveland get him rolling? But I think through drive and kicks, and then as the defense is shifting, if you can run a secondary pick and roll with him as the ball handler, I think that can be a way to jumpstart his second half.
Very true. What do you think the Warriors need to do to keep this lead and win this game?
Just do what they're continuing to do. If Cleveland's just gonna give the ball to LeBron in the paint, I'd almost let LeBron be the shooter. Not you obviously want to challenge, but I think LeBron, when he's in the post, is a much more dangerous playmaker than he is a scorer. He's still a little robotic in the paint. He gets away with a decent amount of paint travels, or post travels, I should say. But I wouldn't want him dishing the rock to Kevin Love or J.R. Smith, Kyrie Irving, Iman Shumpert, even though Shumpert's kind of an okay three-point shooter. But Channing Frye, I should mention, with those guys. I would want LeBron to kind of just go at Iguodala or Draymond Green or Harrison Barnes, whoever's guarding him, and try to score in the post. I'd be fine with that if I was Golden State. Everything else that they're doing is great. They're shooting pretty well. They could make them. They've only shot 2 free throws, so I mean that could be something you want to improve. They've shot 2. Cleveland shot 12. I think just getting to the basket will make the game a little bit easier for Golden State, even though they are up 8 at this point.
Yeah, the Warriors just need to keep doing what they're doing, get the good shots, work defensively. Like you said, force LeBron to be a shooter. I mean, when he had a score in the second quarter, the Cavs were down. In the first quarter, the Cavs were up, and LeBron didn't even score a point, but he had, I think, 5 assists. So, like you said, make LeBron make him a shooter, not a playmaker. But
right. And as you make him more of a shooter, the less touches all these other guys will get, and the less rhythm they'll be at the end of the game when LeBron will need them to come up big.
That's very.
And another thing along with that, Golden State, they've known to be a turnover-heavy team. They have 9 this game. Cleveland could make a run if Golden State is still lax with the ball. So I think tightening up that a little bit. It's kind of hard with the style they play. They play a little loosey-goosey. They're really fluid. They're really dynamic. So you're going to get turnovers, but you want to minimize the one-handed passes, that kind of stuff. The stuff that isn't really forced in a sense. If the team forces you into turnovers, that's one thing. If you kind of give it away, that's an entirely different thing.
Yeah, that will allow the Cavs to get back in the game if they turn over the ball like that. But what's your prediction for the second half? Who wins?
Full disclosure, I am rooting for the Cleveland Cavaliers. I'm rooting for an exciting series. So I hope Cleveland pulls out the win in the second half. I think that will make the game or the series even more interesting than it already is. There's a ton of storylines. So I'm rooting for Cleveland to pull this out. Am I going to put money on it? I don't think so, but I'm rooting for Cleveland. I hope they can do it.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I want Cleveland to win. I want it to be a better series, go at least 6 or 7 games. I know LeBron has won 9 straight game 2s after his loss, so I'm going to go with the Cavs. The Warriors don't seem to have the urgency in this game. Like, they're a little bit laid back. I know they're still up, but they still have another gear to hit, and they seems like they're not that intrigued by this game. And the Cavs know that if they lose this game, it really puts them in a bad spot in this series.
Yeah, it'd be tough to come down from an 0-2 deficit, especially with a team. You'd have to win either games 5 or 7 at home or away at Golden State if it gets that far. I think this is the one Cleveland has to steal if they want a realistic chance of winning the series. But then again, they do have LeBron James, who is indeed the best player in the world. yes, LeBron James is the best player in the world, but I don't know, man. It'll be tough. I'm rooting for him though.
Yeah, I would just want to shout out LeBron for the defensive plays he made in the first half. He looked like a free safety back there reading some of those pick and rolls. But that wraps it up for the halftime show. Check us out the rest of the series, and thanks for listening.
Enjoy the second half.